Nobody expected Taylor Swift to step out of a matte black SUV and walk into the U.S. federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., wearing a sharp navy blue pantsuit and carrying a thick, leather-bound file. Reporters surged forward, flashes lit up the steps, and whispers spread across social media like wildfire. Something big was coming, something that could shake the tech world to its core. Within moments, her legal team followed, clutching briefcases and documents. Her lead attorney, a former federal prosecutor known for tackling billion-dollar tech cases, gave a subtle nod to the cameras. Then the news dropped. Taylor Swift was filing a lawsuit against Meta Platforms Incorporated, specifically naming Mark Zuckerberg. The grounds? Unauthorized replication of identity via neural mimicry and exploitative AI modeling. The world barely understood what that meant. But it was already clear this wasn't going to be just another celebrity tech scandal. News anchors across all major networks cut to breaking coverage. Taylor Swift sues Meta for AI exploitation. Read the cheering. Analysts scrambled to interpret what this meant for the future of both entertainment and artificial intelligence. Social media, unsurprisingly, imploded. Hashtags like #MetaClones, #Taylor vs. Zuck, and #MyVoiceMyRules shot to the top of trending lists globally. Behind the headlines, the truth was stranger than fiction. According to the initial court filing, Taylor's team had obtained internal Meta documents revealing a secret AI initiative called MAVIS, Meta Automated Vocal and Identity Synthesis. It was allegedly trained on unconsented biometric data from high-visibility figures to build virtual influencers capable of full-spectrum emotional speech, facial nuance, and personality emulation. Among these figures, Taylor Swift, labeled Subject 3 in the leaked files. But how did Taylor find out? It began 2 months prior, when her management team received a cryptic email from a whistleblower using the alias Z. The message contained redacted emails, a partial voice print analysis, and a chilling warning. They've built a ghost of you. At first, it sounded like another online conspiracy. But when her tech consultants ran a deepfake audit of new Instagram ads and Threads content, a horrifying pattern emerged. An AI-generated influencer named Alana Sings had uncanny vocal inflections that matched Taylor's tone, breath cadence, and lyrical rhythm. Its smile mirrored her award show expressions. Even the background piano compositions carried chord progressions resembling unreleased Swift demos. It wasn't a clone. It was something far more dangerous. A synthetic persona built from her digital soul. Taylor had remained silent. Until now. Inside the courtroom, tension crackled. The presiding judge, known for his no-nonsense approach to tech law, opened the session. This case touches the very core of digital personhood. We will determine whether artificial intelligence has crossed into territory where consent is no longer optional. Mark Zuckerberg did not appear in person for the first hearing, but Meta's legal counsel arrived armed with a 48-page rebuttal. They argued that MAVIS was trained on aggregated data pools under licensed and fair use sources. They denied any targeting of Taylor Swift's data or intention to mimic her identity. Still, the leaked documents told another story, an intentional one. Outside the courthouse, protesters gathered. Some wore robot costumes with tape over their mouths. Others wore Taylor Swift shirts and held signs reading, "I am not an algorithm." CNN, Fox, BBC, even Al Jazeera had satellite trucks parked out front. The digital world had collided with the physical one. At a post-hearing press conference, Taylor finally spoke. "This isn't just about me. This is about every artist, every woman, every human who thinks their voice is their own. If our identities can be replicated, monetized, and manipulated without permission, then we've lost something sacred." She looked directly into the cameras and added, "They try to make me say things I never said. They made me smile when I didn't feel joy. That's not innovation. That's violation." The internet's response was volcanic. Billie Eilish, Adele, even Shakira posted messages of support. Elon Musk tweeted cryptically, "When AI steals your soul, who sues who?" Legal analysts, ethicists, and artists all chimed in. Harvard Law published a piece titled "The Swift Doctrine Overnight." But Taylor's team wasn't just seeking an apology or damages. They were aiming to establish a new legal precedent that no entity has the right to manufacture or distribute an AI version of another person without that person's explicit consent. Inside Meta's Silicon Valley headquarters, panic was rising. Mark Zuckerberg reportedly called an emergency meeting with the AI ethics board. The Mavis project was immediately suspended pending internal review. Rumors swirled. Other celebrities might have been digitally cloned too. Some had signed NDAs. Others didn't even know they'd been targeted. But Taylor knew. And now, the world did too. The battle had only just begun. Inside the courtroom, the tension escalated with each passing minute. Taylor's lead attorney, Rebecca Linhart, took center stage. Her voice was calm but razor-sharp as she opened with a single question to the judge. Your Honor, when a private corporation creates a digital phantom of a living human being and uses it to simulate speech, emotion, and behavior without consent, is that not a violation of constitutional identity? Judge Ellison leaned forward. You're asking whether AI-generated mimicry equals identity theft? Yes, Your Honor, Linhart replied. Not just mimicry, weaponized personality simulation. My client's emotional cadence, phrasing, even her songwriting structures were used to manufacture an AI that speaks with her digital DNA. This is not about parody. This is about possession. Gasps fluttered across the courtroom. In the gallery, a row of AI ethicists, musicians, and lawyers took furious notes. On the screen behind Linhart, an audiovisual clip played. The influencer Alana Sings was shown in a sponsored livestream for a fashion brand. She hummed a melody before saying in a chillingly familiar voice, "Be fearless, be fierce, be unforgettable." The phrasing? Taken from Taylor Swift's own journal, leaked in the deluxe edition of her 2019 album Lover. The crowd murmured. Linhart then displayed a waveform comparison between Taylor's voice and Alana Sings, almost identical. Meta's lead counsel, Daniel Hawthorne, objected. These simulations fall under transformative use. They're not direct replications. Alana Sings is a composite AI personality, not Taylor Swift. Judge Ellison raised a brow. But the data sourced for that composite, is it confirmed to include biometric vocal scans and emotional mapping of the plaintiff? We cannot confirm the internal datasets, Hawthorne deflected. Those are proprietary. Rebecca Linhart didn't flinch. Your Honor, we have subpoenaed former Meta engineer Silas Miles, who helped develop Mavis training structure. He's ready to testify under oath that Taylor Swift's unreleased audio, gleaned from surveillance-like data scraping, was used in model training. Whispers turned into exclamations. Across the internet, live streams lit up. Swift versus Meta hit 50 million views in under 3 hours. On TikTok, creators reenacted the court exchange in dramatic parody. Silas took the stand. He looked visibly shaken, a whistleblower turned witness. Mavis was designed as Meta's next-gen AI for social manipulation. The idea was to build digital influencers who could trigger emotional responses indistinguishable from real celebrities. He continued, "We had a target list. Taylor Swift was subject 3. Her streaming voice data was collected via ambient listening tools embedded in smart home assistants, fan-uploaded content, and live performance spectrogram captures. We didn't need permission because our legal team argued it fell under derivative data." There was stunned silence. Judge Ellison, you're saying the system scraped passive audio data from consumer devices and concerts without consent? Yes, Your Honor, Silas confirmed. The data was anonymized at first, but eventually labeled due to pattern consistency. The goal wasn't just to imitate, it was to manipulate. Rebecca Linhart nodded solemnly. This is not just identity theft. This is an assault on digital sovereignty. Meta's defense scrambled. In a rushed press release, the company denied executive knowledge of such practices, promising an internal review. But it was too late. Taylor's team released screenshots from internal Meta chats. In one, a senior project lead wrote, "Alana Sings is basically Taylor without the PR tantrums." The courtroom buzzed with tension. Outside, Taylor's fans held candlelight vigils. Students from NYU's AI ethics department projected deepfake awareness PSAs on courthouse walls. She gave us her music, one banner read. They took her voice. Inside, neurologist Dr. Maya Hallstrom testified. When a person hears what they believe is Taylor Swift singing, their brain releases oxytocin and dopamine. It's a neurological betrayal when the source is artificial. It exploits a bond of trust that's been earned, not manufactured. Linhart pressed further. Your Honor, these models bypass consent not just legally, but biologically. Hawthorne tried to counter by calling Meta's AI chief scientist, Dr. Lin Tao. She admitted that Mavis used layered identity matrices, but insisted no one model directly equated to a person. Then came the bombshell. The court received an encrypted email from a second Meta insider, a senior compliance auditor. Attached was a confidential slide deck titled, Celebrity Emulation Market, Q1 Strategy Briefing. Within it, licensing targets for synthetic influencers, brand pitches labeled Taylor Proxy and Adele Variant, pricing charts for likeness replication. Taylor Swift's name appeared 3 times. Judge Ellison called an immediate evidentiary freeze on all Mavis-related projects. Mark Zuckerberg was subpoenaed for in-person testimony. As the gavel struck, Taylor remained composed, yet the world knew the tone had shifted. This was no longer about music. It was a legal war over the very meaning of identity in the AI age. Conclusion: the verdict heard around the world. The world waited. After the evidentiary bombshell dropped in court, news networks broke into special coverage. Hashtags like hashtag Taylor versus Meta, hashtag AI stole her voice, and hashtag digital consent matters dominated every social platform. The line outside the courthouse extended 6 city blocks. Artists, activists, lawyers, and everyday fans all held signs, not just for Taylor Swift, but for something larger, the right to own your identity in a synthetic age. Inside the courtroom, Mark Zuckerberg sat in the witness chair for the first time in years, under oath. His dark suit and navy tie were immaculate, but there was a subtle tension in his posture. The once confident architect of the digital age now looked like a man out of sync with the public moment. Rebecca Linhart stepped forward slowly. "Mr. Zuckerberg," she began, "do you recognize this document?" She projected a slide from the leaked Meta presentation, Celebrity Simulation Assets, Monetization Pipeline. Taylor Swift's name was listed under Priority Class A, right next to Projected Emotional Influence, Extreme. Zuckerberg cleared his throat. I don't directly oversee Mavis Project financials. That document was never approved through legal channels. But it exists, Linhart said, unfazed. And it describes your company's intention to turn public personas into private commodities without consent. Zuckerberg shifted uncomfortably. I believe there was a misalignment between engineering capabilities and ethical oversight. Misalignment, Linhart echoed. Your internal Slack messages read, AI is the new talent agency, and Mavis is our star maker. You referred to AI influencers as unions-proof, scandal-proof, and infinitely scalable. That's not misalignment. That's premeditation. The courtroom held its breath. Then Judge Ellison addressed the defendant directly. Mr. Zuckerberg, do you believe an individual has the right to control how their voice, likeness, and persona are used in synthetic media? He hesitated for a full beat. 1,000 cameras clicked. Yes, Your Honor. Moving forward, we believe that will need to be the standard. But the damage was done. Over the next 2 days, the court heard from AI researchers, musicians, data scientists, and sociologists. Each confirmed the same core idea. The Mavis program blurred, or outright ignored, the boundaries between inspiration and identity, parody and possession. Then came Taylor's moment. She took the stand with quiet resolve. Wearing a simple black blazer, she addressed the court, not with anger, but with eloquence. I've spent my life crafting lyrics to express heartbreak, joy, empowerment. My voice, my inflection, even the pauses between my words, they're all part of who I am as an artist. When that is taken without permission, repackaged, and used to sell products I would never endorse, it feels like I've been digitally dissected. It's not just theft, it's violation. Her words were broadcast globally. Millions watched. Millions believed her. On the final day of arguments, the courtroom was silent as Judge Ellison prepared to deliver the ruling. This case challenges our understanding of technology's role in personal identity. Meta's Mavis project represents a cautionary tale of what happens when innovation outpaces ethics. He continued, "The court finds that Taylor Swift's biometric, vocal, and expressive identity was willfully used in constructing commercial AI applications without consent. Such use constitutes a violation of California's Digital Personality Rights Act and presents credible constitutional concerns under First Amendment limitations on compelled synthetic speech." He paused. "This court issues a permanent injunction on all Mavis-generated simulations tied to the plaintiff and orders Meta to cease all celebrity-based AI model training until a transparent oversight body is established." The gavel fell. Taylor won. But it didn't stop there. The verdict triggered global ripple effects. The European Union opened inquiries into deepfake regulation. Japan passed emergency legislation to prevent posthumous AI simulation without a state approval. In the US, lawmakers cited Taylor's case when introducing the Digital Likeness Protection Act. Meta's stock dipped 12% overnight. Meanwhile, Taylor launched a foundation, the Swift Identity Trust, dedicated to protecting artists and individuals from AI exploitation. In a viral speech at the United Nations AI Ethics Summit, she stated, "Technology is meant to enhance human creativity, not replace it. If we allow corporations to manufacture synthetic souls, we risk losing the very thing that makes us real." Musicians from around the world joined her cause. Billie Eilish, Beyoncé, and even former rivals like Katy Perry voiced support. Hollywood studios began revising AI clauses in actor contracts. OpenAI and other labs issued transparency reports on their data sources. Mark Zuckerberg issued a formal apology on Meta's homepage. To Taylor Swift and to the public, we acknowledge our failure to prioritize human consent in our AI development process. We will rebuild trust through transparency. But trust takes time. For Taylor, the victory was bittersweet. In an interview with The Atlantic, she confessed, "I never imagined I'd have to fight for the right to sound like myself." When asked if she believed others would face the same battle, she answered, "Absolutely. But hopefully, now they won't have to fight alone." The trial would later be dramatized into a Netflix docudrama, narrated by Viola Davis. Its title? The Clone of Me. High school curriculum's adopted case studies based on the verdict. Philosophy professors debated digital personhood. AI researchers implemented new ethical training modules titled the Swift Clause, a nod to the precedent that one pop star set in redefining what it means to be digitally human. And in her next album, Taylor Swift released a single titled Silent Voice. It wasn't angry. It was haunting. A ballad written in first person, not hers, but the AI clone's. The final lyric whispered, "They taught me to speak like her, but I never learned to feel." And so ended a battle that began with a voice, not a scream, not a song, but a simple sentence. "That's not me."